If you're looking for one more chance for snow, this may be it for the East Coast as we head into the following week. Not this week, but the next. Yes, we are looking way out, but if you're trying to find some hope, if you're hoping for one last snowstorm, this may be your chance. First of all, I want to tell you guys, this is the operational run. I understand a lot can change and this thing could be gone tomorrow, but I'm going to show you guys why I think we need to watch this time period in this video today. First off, the European super aggressive in a negatively tilted trough across the East Coast as we head into the following week. I don't believe anything I see out this far, but what makes me pause a little bit is when I looked at some of the long-term weeklies that have been indicating, not just today or yesterday or this week, but over the last 2 weeks, really, as we head toward this time period, a decent trough in the eastern United States. I probably wouldn't be giving this a second thought, but another reason, the GFS, while we're not going to worry about exactly where our low forms, but at this point, I'm just looking at the upper level pattern. How about that? GFS also picking up on the idea of a strong trough moving into the eastern United States early next week. And this could mean a decent snow for the Northeast, and I think probably interior areas if this comes to pass. Don't you dare say, oh my gosh, you said it was going to... Listen, no, I don't know that I believe this, but I just want to show you the operational European isn't messing around when it's trying to show a big dump of snow toward the beginning and middle of next week. Now, there's a long way before we get there. So again, I want to show you where this energy is. Okay, right here, this is Japan, right? The energy is still here, just to the east and northeast of Japan. It has to move completely across the Pacific out here where there's no sampling of the atmosphere, no weather balloons. None of this data is getting plugged into the models. Really, the only thing we have is here across North America that gets plugged in, and there's a few ships out here, but most of that critical data doesn't happen until our storms move ashore, and that probably won't happen, at least the energy, until sometime late in the week. Another caveat will be this upper low that's going to drop into the far southwest. This is a wild look. I talked some about this yesterday. You're going to have this ridge across the west coast, and then this upper low tries to hang back here across the southwest. Well, the energy in the north will try to phase up with this. Boom, right there it goes. It connected with it, and that is what really causes your trough to dig into the east. Does that happen? Well, I mean, the energy, again, I showed you where it's at. It's still got a long way to go. I'll be tracking it all week, so if you think you'll like this kind of stuff, I hope you'll subscribe to my channel. It's a fairly new channel, only about 2.5 months old here on YouTube. We've just passed 4,500 subscribers, so thanks to all of you guys who have subscribed. So just hit that down below. It helps the channel. Thanks for checking it out, guys, and I hope you find this information helpful. We're going to keep going because I want to talk about the European a little bit more. We're going to start with where we are right now. So we've got a trough in the east, right? So that's going to be moving out through the day on Monday. So temperatures will start to modify here across pretty much all of the East Coast, and across the west, we stay stormy. Another system drops in, a trough digs in across the Pacific Northwest. That's going to bring a round of rain and snow. And then this is that upper low, that cutoff low that the European is trying to show across the far southwest. This could bring some rain and snow to this area with the circulation around this, and not a lot of steering currents with this. And that is going to be critical, I think, because our energy that's going to be our potential East Coast storm is still back here. We've got this ridge now at play. How strong will the ridge be? All that really is going to play out as to where the storm eventually ends up. Into next week, this is kind of interesting. By the end of, say, Thursday or Friday, I mean, the European has this wild-looking upper low here across parts of the far southwest. Does this bring maybe some snow into places like Texas, Oklahoma? I mean, if you were to believe this setup, it possibly could. Yeah, it's a wild setup, and it's going to be one that I'm tracking. So let's take it day by day. We're going to back things up before we get to this, what are we going to call it, wish casting monster here. That's one thing you'll find out about me. I'm not going to wish cast and show you the model that's going to be my favorite. We're going to show you the GFS too, which isn't nearly as bullish on the snow. And again, my gracious, we are looking at 10 days out. So before you rip me, I completely understand. On this channel, I do like to show you some of the players on the table, and we may be tossing it aside in a few days. If you go back and you look at some of the videos I've done in the past, I like to talk about things that are far out, and we watch them. And sometimes they come to pass, sometimes not. I'm more interested in the storm at this point. Will it happen? Placement, we'll worry about that later. Across the east, here's our snow showers that will be going into early Monday across northern parts of New England. That starts to fade, though, as we move through the day. Finally, winds do also relax across much of the mid-Atlantic, where it has been just absolutely breezy today. Lake effect snow showers go away, and we start to clear out and dry out some. Temperatures also rebounding, too, with a strong southwest flow. In fact, not just here, but across the Central Plains states too. A lot of warm air moving to the north. And then here comes our next system across the Pacific Northwest. That's going to bring more rain and snow showers to this area. Some places could see a foot or two, especially in the higher elevations of the Sierra into the Cascade Mountains. And then by Wednesday, that moves inland. That's going to be associated with that upper low. Here it is, dropping into the southwest. So by, say, Thursday or Friday, it's dropping into the Four Corners states. It's going to be bringing some snow here to Colorado. One thing to watch, too, you got high pressure here to the north, low pressure somewhere here. You're going to have this upslope component here. So that could bring snow to the high plains, maybe even to parts of Colorado. And then it starts to interact with that upper low across the southwest with rain showers now moving into the east coast as we move towards, say, what? Thursday, maybe some snow too on the northern edge of this. That'll be something to watch. But really, the wet weather starts to build in Thursday across the Midwest and the South, and then into Friday toward the East Coast and into the Southeast. Now, here comes our first piece of energy. Back here's our second piece of energy. How do these two interact? Well, again, let's just go through the European operational run and just imagine how it might play out. So we've got a pretty broad trough here. Look at this dug in all the way here across the central United States. I mean, does it snow in Dallas? I don't think so. That's why I think this is a little too strong with this trough digging in like this. But it does have low pressure. How about that? Forming somewhere here in the Gulf. Now, do I believe this? Maybe so. The trough placement will be key. And does it track exactly like this? Or is it more like this? Or does it do something like this? I think all that's to be determined at this point. What I'm, again, more interested in is this troughiness here in the east that we are seeing, not just on the European, but let me pop over and show you the GFS. It also has a trough digging in sometime around late next weekend. Now, it's not nearly as cold here across Texas, but it does try to show you that trough digging in. Now, where does low pressure form? Do we see it here? Do we see it here? Do we not see it form at all? That is to be determined, but you've got to have the pattern in place, and it's certainly there heading into early next week. And this is the 7-day anomaly across the East Coast, colder than average, a little warmer than average across the West, I think, with some ridging. The blue doesn't mean colder. That's actually upper level heights that we're looking at. So don't read too much into that. But you can see the trough in the east, a bit of a ridge in the west. And then as we move into April, really looking ahead, I think we start to see closer to normal temperatures. The European weeklies really flattening things out with a very zonal flow. And I think this could be potentially winter's last opportunity for a big East Coast storm. I'll be tracking it all week again. I hope you subscribe. I love this kind of stuff, especially forecasting something that could potentially be this strong. I'll catch you next time, guys.